right, greetings everybody. Welcome to the live stream today. I am your host, Gio Pensino with the Wellpreneur community. And our topic on our live stream today is on this topic of reclaiming your focus skills in the age of distraction. And this is no joke. If you have any challenges with getting yourself focused, particularly on the most important things to do, leave me a comment down below and let me know that you're with me. Because the powers that be, that are up in the world these days, and I'm talking about things like Facebook and Google and YouTube, they kind of been designed now to grab our attention. Like our attention is up for grabs right now, and there's a kind of a price on our heads. And so this topic here of reclaiming your focus skills in the age of distraction, it's super relevant, I think. And like I said, leave me a comment down below if you can relate to what I'm talking about. Because I don't think any of us, no matter how smart we are, no matter how elevated in our consciousness, we are under the thing of being distracted. And if we haven't met before, like I said, my name's Gio Pensino, and I lead this community, this Wellpreneur community. And one of the reasons why I do, and the reason why I do these live streams, is because of what is up in the world these days. Like we have a lot of challenges in front of us right now, and I do believe that you and me and the people in this community and the people that are drawn to this kind of topic of health and wellness and transformational change, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And so my live stream today is kind of a wake-up call about how important the work that you do is. And in order to do your work, to do it well, you got to have these skills of being able to focus on the most important things. And if you're having some challenges with it, like I said, I want to know in the comments below. Let's just put it on out there, because if you are having challenges with it, I want to tell you that you are not alone. You are not alone in this world of feeling distracted. And one of the first things I think is just to, kind of own up to it and say, hey, you know what? We are being bombarded with a distraction. And the world is quite turbulent right now as well. And I think we're just kind of on the edge of kind of more turbulence, but I say it in a good way, because I believe that the turbulence that we're up against right now is a calling to step on up and to claim our positions of authority and to claim the calling that you've received to do what it is that you do in the world. And like I said, my mission, a big part of my mission, is to support you in the transformational space and the health and wellness space, because again, we are in so much transformation. It is no joke that the healthcare system is completely broken. The insurance companies are out of control. And, it's just so many things are broken right now. But again, I look on the positive side, because when things are broken, when things are challenging, that is when people are called to lead. And the calling comes, and sometimes that calling can come with a certain level of frustration, and maybe one of those things that are frustrating you is how to get friggin' focused. And maybe you're feeling a little distracted. Like I said, we are in this space of our attention is up for grabs. It is for sale to the highest bidder right now, and that is no joke. Our attention is being marketed, and we are like our attention is on the auction block every day. And like I said, that is no joke, because that is how Facebook works. That's how Google works. That's how YouTube works. They are wonderful channels, And I want to talk a little bit about how to use them properly, because that's a big part of what I do is to show you how to use social media in a way that does not cause distraction, in a way that helps you to get your message out there and to live your purpose. So on this topic of how to create a focus, and I am going to kind of approach it from a kind of a unique position today, because I'm talking about the topic of what I call autotelic focus. And an autotelic focus is when you generate kind of the habits, you connect with your inner calling in such a way that you are automatically driven to focus on the most important things. Now, I believe and I've experienced that it is something that does come innately from within us, but I've also experienced that it doesn't just happen all by itself. Like there are some very specific things to do that I'm going to share with you today that will trigger off that autotelic type of response within ourselves that drives us forward, pulls us towards doing the most important things. And some people use the term a flow, like how do you activate your flow? And your flow is basically like what you're naturally drawn to do, what you would do whether you were paid for or not. And one of the unique gifts that I bring to the world and I bring to this transformational space is I do experience that doing what you love and being financially rewarded for it are not mutually exclusive. Again, it takes a little bit of work to get the dynamo moving, to get the energy moving in order to create the container for you to be rewarded. And the first thing that we want to talk about is the energy. And Tony Robbins is famously, quoted as saying, and I may be subquoting him, but he says along the line that energy follows focus. And what he's talking about here is that our energy is activated when we find the things within us that motivate us so much that we start to make them a part of our daily activities. And so focus comes from energy, and energy comes from focus. It's this kind of dynamo kind of thing that happens where the more you discover what lights you up and what excites you and what calls you, that generates energy. And then that energy starts to generate and create focus. And that focus, in terms of your daily activity, starts to generate more energy. And so it works in a cyclical dynamic process where the focus comes first and the energy follows. So like I said, this term autotelic focus, and this is, like I said, the kind of focus that comes from discovering what you love to do and stepping on into it and actually taking action on it. And this is one of the mistakes that people make sometimes, is thinking that it's enough to think about what you love to do and that will just make it happen. But the truth is, at least this has been my experience, and I've been working in this space of entrepreneurialism and doing what I love for my entire life, so I think I know a thing or two about it. And it's just not thinking about it. It's like I said, it's coming from the direct experience. So autotelic focus comes from doing the activities that we love to do. And this comes directly, it comes to us from ancient times. This is from, ancient times, from Socrates, Aristotle, the founders of Western thinking. But more recently now, the movement of flow is saying that autotelic activity is one that we do it for its own sake. Like I said, like it's an activity a thing that you would do, whether you're paid for it or not. And like I said, I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive, so maybe that's my addition to it. But the first step is discovering what it is that you love to do. And this is a self-reflective type of process, and it's one of the key things that I help people to do. Like I said, it's an activity, and it does start with doing some self-assessment about what you love to do and what it is that's really calling you. And so I've got a few things that I do kind of on a regular basis. But I will say this: if you're in the process still of discovering what that calling is, then just acknowledge that that's where you are. Or you may have already discovered your calling, and maybe you're working in that space, but you're having some challenges, maintaining the focus. So I want to speak to both of those things. And the first thing being, what do you love to do? And we discover this oftentimes by looking backwards. And it's a pretty interesting right now because we are in the retrogrades right now. And some people are like, oh man, we're in a Mercury retrograde and this is such a terrible thing. Nothing's going to work out. Well, I got a little bit of a different take on it, and it doesn't just come from me, but it comes from some pretty wise astrologer who I just spent some time with last night. I'm here in Laguna Beach, and I was at an astrology class talking about this. And one of the unique elements of the retrograde activity, the retrograde energy, it is the ideal time to look backwards. To look backwards on the things that have both worked and the things that have not been worked. And this is a cyclical activity because the retrogrades are cyclical, but this unique time creates that space, and it's a little bit like a pause space in some ways. So I think this is the reason why people mistakenly, put the word onto it, like you can't, nothing's going to be working, and again, I think that's a complete misframing of what the retrograde is really about, because it is true that it's a time to pause, and the best thing to do during the retrogrades, which is where we are right now, I think there's I don't know how many planets, like 7 planets. They're like all retrograding, and again, it's a perfect time to look backwards on the things that you have been maybe working on already, and maybe looking at the things that have triggered off that autotelic action, the things that you've done in the past maybe 3 or 4 months that have been wow, that really felt pretty good when I did that. And on the other side of the polarity is asking these questions like, hey, what did not work so well in this period of time during the past 3 months or so? So it's a time of looking backwards and reflecting. And if you extend this, there are some planets that are in retrograde that have very long periods of movement. And if I get my notes here, I can tell you what those planets are. But to me, it almost don't matter in a certain way, because what the truth is that I'm trying to get to is that you can look all the way back to your early times if you want to discover what you love to do and what you're naturally good at. The best thing to do is to look all the way backwards to the times when you were anywhere, I'm going to say between 6 and about 15, 18 years old, because that's when your natural gifts kind of emerge the most. In your super young years, they're not quite forming yet. And they may not have formed into an activity, so they may be a little bit harder to identify. But I'll give you an example. In my own life, uh, when I was young, like 6, 7, 8 years old, I had this crazy friggin' imagination. And I could go into other worlds, and I did all the time. Man, it would be like me and Snoopy and the Red Baron. We would be flying up in the sky. I built this lemonade stand to serve Snoopy and the Red Baron when they would come and land. And I actually did it, but where it was mostly happened was in my imagination. And so that was an early cue for me. And as I grew a little bit older in years, I started to realize that imagination and the ability to visualize things so clearly before they're even made made me specially equipped for doing things in the world of design, in the world of media production, where you have to imagine, the story before it's being told. And so for me, I did this kind of work at a certain point in my life when I was, I think, like in my late 20s, early 30s, which is oftentimes when we're called to do this work. And I came to realize and did this process of, looking at what I love to do and how I could apply those things to doing some kind of a career thing that I loved. I came, ultimately down to two choices. I was either going to go into the filmmaking industry or I was going to go deeper into the design industry as a landscape architect. And that's what I ended up doing. But this is the process. And if you need any help with this process, this is one of the things that I help people with. It is, like I said, a process, and the result of doing this process is the most valuable thing that you could possibly do for yourself. And the reason why is back to the topic of focus is it activates and makes it known to your conscious mind what you love to do. And once you know, at least in a rough sense, what you love to do, then you start to do it. And when you start to do it, you get more energy. And when you get more energy, you get more clarity. And like I said, it's like a loop that feeds onto itself and creates this type of autotelic reaction. It's almost like a little nuclear engine within ourselves. In fact, I would say it is a nuclear engine within ourselves. Like when you take the time to do this and you become like, wow, you know what? I think, what I'm doing is exactly what I want to do, and I just need to do more of it. Or, like I said, in the retrogrades, it could be like, well, let me look backwards a little bit in the last few months and identify some of the things that I've been doing that made me feel real good. And let me also identify some of the things that I want to eliminate and get rid of and let go of, some of the habits or the activities that I've been doing. So focusing is the first thing. It generates the energy. And so when it comes to the specifics of this activity, of how to really set that focus going, we could ask the question, maybe you're doing something already right now, but you're feeling a little fuzzy to it. Or you get a little off course sometimes. And I bet a lot of the people that are listening to this right now might be in this category, because if you're here on the Wellpreneur channel, you're probably doing something that's pretty darn close, or maybe it's exactly what you want to do, but you need to bring more focus into it. And so if that is you, kind of the second category of people, the way that you can activate your autotelic focus is start with this one step, or this kind of process, which is asking the question to yourself. These are kind of Socratic questions that activate energy within yourself. Is asking the question, why is it? Why are you motivated to do what you're doing right now? What is your big why? And Simon Sinek has, he's developed a whole empire around asking this simple question. But it really is, it is this question. Why is it that you're doing what you want to do? Like, what is it about it that really motivates you to create it? And I've been going through a little bit of a process myself around this because it is a never-ending story, right? And we're in the retrogrades right now, so there's kind of a pause on action to a certain extent, and we're being, called or asked to look backwards a little bit. So I've been, pulled to look backwards, and where I looked backwards to, or been called to look backwards to, is my spiritual roots. And I was called a couple of months ago to go and visit the Paramahansa Yogananda ashram in Encinitas, California, where he wrote the autobiography of a yogi. And that was the book that ignited my own personal awakening at the age of 13. So I got the book again, I'm reading it, and it's kind of reigniting something within myself that's causing me to question materialism. And I have been, because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family and I've been very successful in business, and I like to have stuff and things, not like a garage full, but and most of the stuff I got rid of, and now I'm just like, traveling the world and doing my thing. But still, there's those roots of materialism that I'm kind of questioning right now. Like, what is it that's really motivates me? And this is what I came up with for this particular broadcast. This could resonate with you, but we're all on our own journey. So the main thing is to ask yourself, why? What motivates you? Why are you doing it? And so I'm like, materialism is not really it. I mean, I love, living in a beautiful place. I'm here in Laguna Beach overlooking the ocean, and it's quite beautiful. And, it takes resources to do that. And I like that. That's good. I like that a lot. I went to the department store the other day, to Target and to Walmart, and I did not like that at all. Like, I don't want a bunch of junk and stuff and things. I just want what I need, and that's it. Because what's really motivating me and what's really calling me is to do good in the world. And it is really three simple things that I kind of follow. And it is this. For me personally, this is what it is that I revealed. This is my why, which is I just am drawn to create beauty in the world. I've always been drawn to create beauty in the world, to reveal beauty. And I'm also called to create truth in the world, to reveal truth, to be an agent for truth, and to bring forth goodness. So truth, beauty, and goodness. It's the foundations of, theology, Western theology, whatever you might say. It comes to us, from Plato, Aristotle. They were all talking about it, a long friggin' time ago. Truth, beauty, and goodness. And I read a book not too long ago called The Diamond Cutter. And it is an amazing story. I highly recommend it. If you'd like to get a link to it, just ask me down below in the comments and say, Diamond Cutter, and I'll get you the link to it. But it is basically the story of this Buddhist monk, this kind of Western dude, this white guy, who is called to become a Buddhist monk. And so he goes to the mountains, he goes to the ashram, and he sits, at the feet of his master, his teacher, and he's meditating away and doing his thing. And finally he says to his master, "What's my purpose?" And I want to become a renunciate and stay here in this monastic order. And the head monk, says to him, your calling is a little different than that. And what I want you to do, as your mentor, what I want you to do is I want you to go to one of the biggest cities. I want you to go to New York City and avail yourself of the diamond cutting industry. And I want you to learn everything you can about being an awakened person within the diamond cutting industry. It is a pretty fascinating story. It's a true story. And the metaphor that comes out of it, I don't want to give you the full spoiler, but the metaphor is that a person who achieves at a high level, the highest level is to be successful at what you love to do and to be rewarded in such a way that you can give back. And that give back is give back in tithing. It's a give back in time and energy, but you got to create something. You got to be able to have something in order to give back. And so that's what motivates me. Let's say in the business world is to have success at a very high level that supports all of us to do beautiful things in the world, to create beauty, to spread truth, and to be part of movements that create goodness. And to me, that is my why. So I say to you, maybe read the Diamond Cutter. It sure did inspire me. And as I kind of try to wrap things up here in this little short 30 minutes here, I will say this. These are the actual how to do it that I'm going to share with you right now. How you can activate autotelic flow by doing these actions. Because like I said, it doesn't just happen. And I don't believe it's not been my experience that it just comes from praying. And it doesn't just come from meditating and calling it forth. Like some people have said to me, that did not work for me. I'll just tell you that. But you got to have a vision. And that vision is got to come from inside of you. And that vision is what you're called to do, what you love to do, what you're naturally gifted at. So do some writing about that. And what I recommend is that if you haven't done it at all, do a deep dive. And I can help you with that because it is going to be the most valuable thing you will have ever done. I've done it a few times in my life. The most valuable thing I have ever done. And I was lucky to learn the process early. But have a vision, create a vision. Why are you motivated to do what you're doing? And then to connect with that vision every morning. This is one of the mistakes that I see people make. Sometimes people create a vision board, or they write their goals, or they write their vision, and then they put it up on the shelf somewhere. But in order to activate the autotelic focusing mechanism, the thing that creates the inner desire, the energy, you got to have it real close to you and connect to it on a daily basis. This is a key element. I say it twice because it is so important. So I do it in a 3-ring binder, and so you see on the front of it is kind of my vision. You know, it's a visions for the things that interest me and that call me. You know, the places that I want to be and live and do, and all of this. So get it captured, in a place where you can connect with it every single day. And the way that I recommend doing it is to do it first thing in the morning. And again, this is kind of where the rubber meets the road, is to do it, connect with it, look at it, and then meditate every morning. Meditate. Just start off. If you're not a big meditator or you haven't done it, you don't have to meditate for an hour. You don't have to meditate for 6 hours. Just meditate for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe that. And the meditation that I recommend is called the 6-Step Meditation by Vishen Lakhiani. I've been using it now for about 6 years every single morning, and it activates the energy centers within us in a very simple way. It activates our vision. It activates our inner sense of gratitude, so that we really activate the gratitude, what we're grateful for. And it also connects us to our big vision and to what we need to do today. And so this is my next little piece, which is morning writing. So after that meditation, sit down and do a little bit of writing. And this comes from Julie Cameron and The Artist's Way. And again, I've been doing this for 6-7 years now and have really bared some fruit from it. So not a theoretical thing, my direct experience to spend a little short time after that meditation to write. And Julie Cameron, she kind of, recommends just some free-form writing, and that's kind of what I do, but I always finish it off with writing down the 3 to 5 top things that are going to really move the needle today. And I usually do that I do it myself. I used to do it in a journal. Now I've moved on to the computer because I like to have a record of it and be able to go back to it with ease. But whatever you find easier, but writing down, about what you're being called to kind of in a general way right now. And then your 3 to 5 top things that are going to make the biggest difference to what you're doing right now. And there's a little thing called the Pareto's Principle, which if you'd like to learn more about it, leave a comment down below and say Pareto's Principle, and I will share with you a link to that notion. But the notion is super powerful, and it's a principle that's been discovered since the Renaissance, which roughly says that 20% of the actions and the activities generally in any body of motion create 80% of the results. So this is kind of tying into my topic today, and I'm wrapping up to say that there's anywhere between 1 and 5 things that are the most important things to do each day or each week. And if you do those things, then you will move the needle. And in my world, some of those things that are in those 20% category, and if you're building a business, this is highly relevant to you, which is sales and marketing. Sales and marketing. Those are the 20% of activities, and oftentimes I end up seeing that people are doing the 80% of activities that don't do anything, that just are kind of time wasters. But when it comes to building a business, the most important activities are developing the marketing content for your business, getting clarity on your messaging, creating social media content that educates your clients and customers so that you can be seen in the world. Most likely, if you don't have clients coming to you right now, it's because nobody knows that you're out there. And so marketing content through social media, content creation, videos, blog posts, very specific. Little quotey things are kind of cool and everything, and that does, help the algorithms. But what people really need in order to assess whether you really know how to help them is actual educational content. Video is the very best, of course, and so that's what I'd recommend. And then related to marketing is sales. So marketing, brings people to you, but then the sales process is the process that actually turns that interest into clients for you. And so those are the 20% of activities that will make the biggest difference for you. So hopefully that was helpful for you. There is so much more that I could say on this topic. And in the programs that I do say a lot more on the topic, and also help people to activate these type of things, because these are the 20% of activities developing the ability to activate autotelic focus that will result in a very successful business for you. And marketing and sales are in those top activities. If you you do nothing more than marketing and sales, clients are going to come to you, money's going to come to you, and most all your other problems are going to go away. They're going to evaporate. Like, I want to travel. I want to have a house. I want to have the things, repaired that I need to get repaired. Well, having clients will solve all those problems for you. And so marketing and sales is in that 20% of activities. And you might want to ask yourself, how much time am I spending on those most important activities? And if you're not spending a lot of time on it, don't feel bad about it. It's not your fault. That's why I'm having this conversation with you today, to activate the thinking and to help you get focused on the things that are most important. So if you found this helpful, leave a comment below and let me know what you found most helpful out of this. Because I tell you what, the more that you engage in this community, actively engage by commenting, it's going to help you as well kind of activate your own thinking. So what's the most valuable thing that you got out of this live stream today? And if you'd like to get my help on these activities, and whether you need to discover what your calling is with greater energy and focus, or you need some help on what are the specific marketing activities to grow your business, just leave a little comment down in there and say, hey, interested, and I'll reach out to you and we'll connect on a little phone call. That's what I do, and that's what I'm called to do. And I just got to say, as I close up, your work is so important. Just know that this is the time right now. There is stuff up in the world, and what you bring to it is so important. It's not trivial. You are important, and what you're doing with your work in health and wellness and transformation, man, this is the time for it now. This is the time to shout loud and proud and develop the tools that will attract people to you in such a way that you can really make an impact in the world. So that's what I want for you, and I'm so glad that you got to be with me, whether you're here live or you're listening to the recording.